Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Senate Democrats believe the Republican tax plans are offered today without any context. The President spoke just an hour ago about the war in Europe and how it will affect all Americans, and that includes all Minnesotans. Global events have a tremendous amount of uncertainty attached to them. We have the time in the Minnesota Senate to be deliberate and thoughtful, fiscally responsible on behalf of all Minnesotans. The GOP tax plans ignore the world. They ignore the upheaval likely to come in our economy. The forecast that is due to be released on Monday is ignored. Their bill proposals are premature, reckless, and they overpromise. Senate Democrats are focused on all Minnesota families, and we speak to them today. Senator Klein.
Well, thank you, Senator Rest. And as Senator Rest pointed out, these are serious times, and this is a serious issue, the funding of the state. We're not going to hand out scissors here today. I don't believe the Senate Republican proposals this morning were serious in the least or had anything to do with policy or taxes. It was a gimmick and a political document, but we're here to do important work. In particular, Senate Democrats have a number of proposals that will lower taxes on wage earners and working Minnesotans, as opposed to Republican proposals that are targeted again towards the very wealthiest and towards people who live off their investments. In particular, in the area of property taxes, Minnesotans know that their property values are increasing at astronomical rates, and they're nervous about the property tax bill that will come next year. Senate Democrats have a number of ideas to make sure that staying in your home is affordable and that your property taxes will be lowered next year, whether you're a senior or a new homeowner or any Minnesotan. And we look forward to working to get those across the line. Unfortunately, the two major proposals you heard about this morning from the Senate Republicans spend all the money, so there's no money left over for property owners. And I'll turn it over to Senator Dziedzic.
Hi, everybody. As you said, my name is Kari Dziedzic, and as Senator Rest mentioned, I believe it's premature. We don't know how the Russian invasion of Ukraine will impact Minnesota's financial forecast. We don't know how it'll impact Minnesota's economy. We don't know what the impact will be to Minnesota families. And we need to be fiscally responsible. We should be looking at ways to use that money to help average Minnesotans and not just rich millionaires. We need to be using money and looking at how to use that money to help families find childcare, personal care attendants, to help students attend college or reduce their crippling debt. We need to use that money to ensure that all Minnesotans have a roof over their head and food on their table. We have an opportunity and we have a duty to be responsible, work together, and to make sure that everyone is lifted up and help everybody from Ada to Zumbrota. And now I will turn it over to Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Senator Dziedzic and Senator Rest and Senator Klein. I'm Erin Murphy. I represent Senate District 64 in St. Paul. And I am very happy to be here today with my fellow Democrats on a day that reminds us that we have serious work to do for the people of Minnesota. The legislature is months overdue now in fulfilling its commitment to its frontline workers. They are overdue in their commitment to fulfilling the commitment to when asked today, the majority leader could not even speak to the status of the drought or the drought relief or where it stands in this legislature. And we know that while the House is taking up frontline worker pay today, that the Senate has not yet even introduced a proposal to meet the commitment that they made last June to the frontline workers who kept us healthy and alive and our economy moving. We're facing a serious time in our country and in Minnesota. We know, because we've heard from them, that Minnesotans are struggling with a number of things. We know institutions and things that we count on, like our schools and childcare, our healthcare system, are buckling under the burden of this pandemic we have important work to do for the people of Minnesota, and I stand with my colleagues, with my Democratic colleagues here in the Senate. We are going to do that work for the people of Minnesota. As Senator Klein said, we didn't come with scissors. We come with serious proposals for the people of Minnesota, and one of the first we need to take up is frontline workers and drought relief for the people. Thank you.
We have time for a few questions.
Tanner Klein. On the tax cut that was proposed this morning, it's going to be politically difficult to oppose a cut in the lowest rate, right? Because not only does it help the wealthy people, but it does help the lowest income people as well.
There are much better ways of helping all Minnesota families through the working family credit, through the child care credit, through the education credit, through the property tax refund. Those are much better and targeted opportunities for Minnesota to give tax reductions and to spend our money in the surplus much more wisely on helping those families. And we don't have to spend the money on the millionaires in order to help working families, the people who get up in the morning, go to work, whether it's in their living room or whether it's they go out to an office or they go to school or whatever. You can help Minnesota families. We can help Minnesota families without having to give money away from the surplus on rich people, on millionaires, to be fiscally responsible for to all Minnesota families and for our budget. We don't have to give money to millionaires like the Republicans did in order to help the ones who really deserve it, including, as Senator Murphy said, our frontline workers. Where is their plan? Where is their plan? Those people sacrificed, and they're continuing to sacrifice during the pandemic. We're reaching out to them, to those Minnesotans, not to the millionaires. And we believe that Minnesota and all Minnesota families will approve of our values in going forward with tax proposals.
Do you guys think that the geopolitical situation should also cause caution on the spending side?
I'm going to repeat the question just so I understand it. You're asking, should the uncertainty in the world situation cause us uncertainty or caution on the spending side? Absolutely. We need to assert what our priorities are going to be for Minnesota families, and it's not just going to be spending money on millionaires. And I'm going to let Senator Murphy respond further.
I listened to Senator Dziedzic, and she has a lot of experience here, and so do I. And we know how a budget forecast can turn around given world events. I think that we need to be prudent in this session, and we need to think not just about between now and June, but the year and two ahead. We do not want to come back in 2023 facing a budget deficit. And I think Minnesotans are being very clear that they want us to be wise stewards of their funds. We will be. We are. And I think there are places, I know there are places when I think about schools and childcare that need extra attention. So yes, I believe it is wise for us to be prudent, and we will. Both sides of the ledger, if you will.
So should there be more of 7.75 left unspent for that reason, just to be prudent, as you say? I mean, because you're proposing spending as well, and I'm just wondering if any of the spending that you're proposing, you might think maybe we need to hold off on that or delay it in the biennium or something.
The proposal that you will see from the Senate Democrats, they don't spend $13 billion in order to improve the lives of Minnesota families going forward. And I think they will thank us for, as Senator Murphy said, being prudent, being fiscally responsible in our spending as well, and we certainly should wait for the forecast. We don't know what that's going to show us on Monday, and I believe that there will be a number of programs that are revisited, even with regard to the fiscal impact on the spending side. Go ahead, Kari.
Well, I'm also going to point out that tax proposals are spending. They're just a different side of the ledger, but they spend money. So they use money. So I think that, I think we do need to be fiscally responsible and fiscally prudent because we don't know what this, I will call it the Russian invasion of Ukraine because I represent a lot of Ukrainians. I apologize for being late here today. I have friends that have family members that they don't know if they got out or not. So it is impacting families. We don't know the economic impact of families. We don't know the economic impact of our economy, and we don't know the economic this will do to the forecast. So I do think we need to, absorb what happens, see what happens. I pray and hope that there is a peaceful resolution quickly.
Senator Rest, you proposed doubling the exemption for the Social Security tax to $11,000. Do you stand by that, given what's happened now? Do you think that's the right way to go forward on Social Security tax?
Excuse me, yes, I do. I believe that we need to pay attention to the impact of inflation on our senior citizens who receive Social Security, and it's not an exemption. It is it's doubling the subtraction from the so-called provisional income. But I think that it's actually a fairly modest proposal. But it can also be scaled back if other things are going to come and be more important. One of the testifiers in the Senate Tax Committee yesterday said, "Tax me on my income, don't tax me on my age." And I thought that was a very powerful statement from someone who clearly was a Social Security benefits recipient. And I think that she probably represents the feelings of many, many Minnesotans who currently are getting Social Security income.
Another topic, can I ask any of you to react, several prominent women in the Senate here to the loss of a prominent woman who led your caucus and frankly a number of women who are stepping aside because of the way the lines were drawn.
You are looking at three of us who are not stepping aside.
Anyone else like to say anything? I mean, especially when you think about sort of what's lost. I mean, when the legislature had a record number of women in Capitol in this last biennium. We don't know how everything will shake out, but what is the significance of that?
It is important, and we are paying attention. I first want to say that Senator Leader Lopez Franson is a gifted leader, and she's a friend, a dear friend of mine, and her decision is one that is painful, I think, for all of us in our caucus. She is one of our women of color, along with Senator Patricia Torres-Rey, who's also retiring. And we starting to look through what the redistricting map has delivered for us, and it is the case that there are a number of women who are leaving the legislature, not necessarily by their own choice. The good news, from my perspective, is that there are a number of women who are running for the legislature and running for the Senate. And I hope that with each election, we see a legislature that looks a little bit more like us, balanced in gender, younger, more people of color. The best way that we can represent the interests of Minnesotans is by making sure we represent and are representative of the people of Minnesota. And I hope that the electorate delivers that. I do, and I have talked about this before, believe strongly that more women in the legislature delivers a better outcome for Minnesotans, for families and communities.
Do you think Senator Watts should have stepped aside to clear the way for her to stay? Because one or the other, they could have run against each other, so.
I think that Leader Lopez Franson has made a decision for herself and for her family, and I respect that.
reading here that the Minnesota Social Security benefit comes out to like $19,000 a year currently for people on Social Security. Is that even a high enough amount to be taxed in the tax code?
The vast majority of Social Security income recipients in Minnesota are not taxed at all because it is the source of their income. The maximum amount of Social Security income that anybody can get, because it is capped, is around $40,000. Social Security recipients got a 5.9% increase, but inflation is 7%. Their buying power for 2022 is not increased at all, even though it is always affected by inflation in determining the amount that the federal government sets at that point. We're going to pay special attention to that. Inflation is a huge factor. The pandemic continues to be a huge factor. And coming back to our first statements, we need to be all too aware of the uncertainty that the global crisis is bringing to Minnesotans.
Well, we have time for these two questions, and we gotta go.
Well, I'm gonna talk really slow. Senator Rest, do you attend the Council of Economic Advisors with the governors? And if so, what did you come away with from that meeting?
The members of the legislature who were invited to those meetings are members of the majority party, not the members of the minority party, so no, I do not attend them.
The governor doesn't let you into the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors.
The Council of Economic Advisors themselves, as I understand it, are the ones that issue the invitations, not the governor.
Off topic, but Senator Dziedzic, you mentioned talking to some friends with family in Ukraine, you have big constituency in northeast Minneapolis. Can you speak a little bit more broadly? Are you hearing from a lot of constituents today, community members, and what are you hearing?
They had a rally last Saturday, I believe, Saturday or Sunday here at the Capitol. So I have been talking to them since before then. They are concerned. There are family members that are over there that are trying to get out. I personally have relatives in Poland that are very worried about how this is impacting as people are leaving Ukraine to go into Poland. My cousin lost his job several years ago when the last time Russia came into and took over the Crimea area. My constituents that have relatives over there are very concerned. They're nervous about what the impact will be. The one I was talking to beforehand, her husband was in Kiev and she had talked to him, again, by the time difference, I don't know, but so she had talked to him yesterday and it was fine. And then once the bombing started, she was not able to reach him. So she doesn't know if he got out. He was kind of planning at that point to leave, but she doesn't know yet. And I think that's just one story that I've heard, but I know there are several others, as I am, again, in contact with several leaders in that community.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.
What you said about the women. Thank you for saying so.